Hello! Welcome back to another episode of Quick Coding with Kids. Today it is Code a Creature. This is brought to you by the Crosby Edith Faye Cook Cole Branch Library of the Harris County Public Library System. Today's activity is a screen-free activity, and you may be surprised to find that you can do coding without being on a computer. Coding is learning how to give computers a set of instructions. So children must learn how to follow and give instructions, and you don't need to be on a computer to do that. Today, we will code a creature using paper, and our code will make a little pixelated creature, and they're lots of fun. Attached to this episode is a link for the PDF file with almost everything you will need to do this activity. You will need a grid, and you will need pieces of paper cut into squares to match the grid. These squares are 1 inch by 1 inch. You will also want 2 squares that are white with large dots in the center. You will also need the code for your creatures, and they are the grids with numbers and colors on them. If you're comfortable with your child using scissors, have them help you cut out the squares that you will need for the day. So let's get started. Just like reading, we follow the code from left to right and top to bottom. In row 1, you will see the number 2 in a white box, the number 1 in a colored purple box, and a number 4 in a white box. So now on your grid, you will follow these instructions. You will leave the first 2 squares blank, 1 square will have a color, and the last 4 squares are left blank. Row 2 has 1 colored square, a square with the dot in the middle, 1 colored square, and then 4 blank squares. Row 3, 3 colored squares, 3 blank squares, and 1 colored square. Row 4, 1 blank square and 6 colored squares. So now you are seeing that the creature is forming. Continue on the same way with rows 5, 6, and 7. When you're done, you've got your funny little pixelated creature. Each of the codes provided in the PDFs are all different, so you can make lots of different creatures. If you don't want to print out these instructions with their big colored squares, you can make your own using a blank grid that is provided in the PDF. You can use a black marker to write the numbers with a blank space, and those will be the white blank spaces, and then use a colored marker to indicate where the squares are going to go. And you can see that in the example here. Another way that you can write the code, and this is really starting to look like secret code writing, instead of having it on grids, just number 1 through 7, and then you put in your code. Circle the numbers that will be colored. So row 1 has 1 blank space, 1 colored space, 2 blank white spaces, 1 colored space, and 2 more blank spaces. And then you continue on that way. Now that you've mastered following the code and making creatures, it's time to start writing your own code. This is something you and your child can do together. What can you make? A house or an ice cream cone? Once you have figured out your picture, try writing down the code. So example, for the house, the row 1 would be 3 blank spaces, 1 colored space, 3 blank spaces, and continuing on. If your child is good at it and feels comfortable, have them make a picture and write a code for you to follow. What about the alphabet? Can you make the letters of your child's name in the code? Write it down for them to follow, or let them write out something for you. If you really want to have some fun, use two colors. Instead of having the blank white space, use a colored square, and then another colored square for the coded creature portion of it. And so it can get really fun and tricky, and the colors make it more exciting. As you can see, this activity is easy to do, and yet can be quite challenging, especially when you're writing out your own code. It is a wonderful way to practice writing and following instructions. What else can you do? With your grid and colored squares, there are endless possibilities of the many pictures and creatures that you can create and a code that you can write. So get creative. Thanks again for joining us on this quick coding with kids. We hope you'll join us again for another fun activity of coding. So have fun and keep on learning.